Okay, my name's Joshi. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'll do this as quick as possible. It's loading. I hope it does load. I'm here to talk about Scope for Good. I'm going to start with a quick intro, a little bit about myself so you know who I am and a little bit about me. I basically grew up in a single-parent family, only child, humble beginnings. So essentially, it was an all-female household, my gran and my mum. Unfortunately, my mum and dad split when I was about 3 years old due to an abusive relationship and everything that goes with a bad marriage. And so I quickly learned quite a bit about, domestic violence, and it kind of played a big part in my life, and hence why I support a lot of those type of organizations. And children are my absolute heart. So I've always supported children. And, by the way, if you scope any of this, please use Scope for Good. I'll explain to you why at the end. We're kind of creating some stuff with Catch. There we go. Finally, the truth. As you know, there's lots of things going on in and around the world. Wars, unfortunately, horrible things, and we tend to see one-sided version of the story, or a side of the story that might have a blanket, maybe not so much the truth. And so Periscope, for me, is a phenomenal product that actually allows us to broadcast the truth. From the people to the people. I've said this like in April. I did a broadcast in April, and for me, somebody on the ground in a place like Gaza or Israel or any part of the world where there are some atrocities going on, people can actually show exactly what's going on rather than have one side of the story. And it's, that form of freedom of speech is phenomenal for me because you can't edit it. There's no post-production. There's no, let's cut this word out, that word out. If someone says something online or on a broadcast, it's saved and it's there for good, and it's on Catch forever. So for me, please, promote the fact that this is a non-biased platform. It allows us to see the harsh truth of life and the amazing things that are going on in the world, like Mitch underwater, for instance. Social good, create a ripple. Wow. Social good. Social good is, we all say we want to change the world, but social good is actually creating a ripple in your own neighborhood or doing whatever you possibly can. It's essentially, if you believe in the ripple effect, so when a drop of water falls, it creates a ripple, a bit like the butterfly effect. So essentially, if you do something good in your own community, or even focus on one person and help them gain some sort of self-belief, or just some sort of higher self-esteem, self-confidence, then essentially you can help change the world. Because if they've got some sort of, they might get a promotion, something might happen, their children's life might be better, or their home life might be better. So social good is not just helping people around you, it's essentially helping people within your own community. And if we all did something, you guys are from all around the world. I know a lot of you guys are flowing in for this. If you did something in your own community, then it has a ripple effect. These are some of the stuff I've done in the last year alongside my co-teammates. This is an account on Periscope called Valens, which some of you may have heard of, some of you may have not. I went through Instagram and found a bunch of people, like-minded people, that put out positive messages, thought a certain way, had admiration to help people, essentially messaged them, put everybody together, shared a username and password, and every day the guys broadcast on one channel, true form of unity. Everybody broadcasts on one channel and helps people gain a better self-esteem, better self-confidence, looking in the mirror and feeling, hello gorgeous was to all of you, by the way. And they've grown. That's a national paper there in Canada, and the account's growing. It's about 210,000 followers now. This is a project we did over in India. I'm going to go through some projects. That's what I'm going to do for the next few minutes. So this is a project we did over in India. Again, you know, this is a very interesting project. Every penny donated goes straight to our projects. Our minimal running costs are privately funded. The gentleman that runs this charity is Adele's other half. They're not short for cash. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm going to say something that's slightly political. It cost these guys $2,000 to put a pump in the ground. It cost some of the other water charities about $30,000. To give you an idea of the admin costs, the wages, and everything else that goes with it. So I tend to support charities that do good because they want to do good, or do good without any other ulterior motives. And I would suggest you do the same. And again, Periscope helps young, I'm going to introduce someone later on, Periscope helps young, one-man band charities or people that want to do good get on a platform. You have Comic Relief and Children in Need that raise $10 million, $20 million every year, but those smaller charities don't have a platform, and now they do. SWAT, oh my gosh, these guys are incredible. I've supported these guys for some time now, and I really want to show you guys how Periscope has changed this charity. These guys essentially feed people on the streets of London that are homeless. This was our Christmas party. I was out there broadcasting live. Recognize the human race as one. That is their slogan. No religion, no creed, no culture barriers. And they've been doing this since 2009. They go out with a van. They cook in their home. They go out with a van, and they use Twitter to promote their charity. I've known this guy for some time, and I said, let me come over there and Periscope the event. Let's see if people care. I Periscoped it for the first time, and they had their highest donation in history, over $1,000 during the scope. And it just shows you, again, you don't necessarily have to put a whole project together yourself. If you go out there and support an existing project and use your account, you can really make a difference. And don't think about how many viewers you have, guys. It's not about 1 viewer, 5 viewers, 10 viewers. I promise you, I only have 3,000 followers on my Periscope account. I'm not as active as you think I am. And it just makes a difference. So please get out there, Periscope some stuff. This is a social good keynote, and this is social good live in action. So I was out there. I actually shed a tear during this scope. It was really emotional to see 1,000 people out there having a Christmas party on the streets of London. I know it's a bit dark because of the lights, but I hope you get a feel of that. We had fun. It was on the news. It made London live. I'm going to share this guy's message with you as well. This is only 30 seconds long. Really interesting, poignant message, because the guys that run this charity don't even want a thank you. They don't even want people, the homeless, to feel as if they're on a lower level. Listen to what he says. I hope we have audio. Maybe not. Okay, we'll have audio in a second. There's the audio thing. I can do this. Thank you. Listen to this guy's message.
Hi, good to have you here tonight.
That's right.
You know, because of you, we're here. We're not serving you. We're not serving you. You're serving us. You are serving us. You know why? Because we're getting fulfillment from this. So it's a two-way thing. So thank you. Give me a hug.
The gentleman there was saying, I've spent my life as a racist, and I'm here spending Christmas with a bunch of Sikh people who happen to run that charity. Essentially, we jumped ahead there a lot. Essentially, giving them a Christmas they may not have had. And the response, I didn't quite catch the sound, I don't know if you did, he said, don't say thank you to us. You know, you're serving us. We're getting some blessings from up above, and that's why we do this. The guys are out there. I might add, if you donated $1 to these guys, $1 goes to the people. They do this from their own pocket, even the fuel in their car. They drive out and they do this. They've got 2 vans on the road now. Thanks to Periscope and social media, they now have 3 vans. So they started with 1 van before Periscope. They now have 3 vans out there. They're doing 1,000 people a week. They still cook at home in mummy's kitchen. and all the food is donated, and it's just phenomenal. This man here, I'll share this story with you. This man here is called a runner. You know what a runner is? I hope I get this right. There might be someone in the audience that corrects me. A runner is somebody that is dropped. He was in the army. A runner is somebody that is dropped down on the ground with a parachute, and if he doesn't die, it's okay to attack that area. Essentially, he goes down and finds out if the ground is safe to be able to attack. He was fighting in Iraq for the British Army. He was told that he would be safe and secure when he returns home. Unfortunately, him and hundreds of others are homeless because they gave up their houses before they went out to fight. Listen to his message.
Thank you for coming here tonight. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have what we've got tonight. We thank you. We take our hands off to you and we praise you. We thank you. Thank you so much for giving people a Christmas that they may never have otherwise had. Thank you.
He didn't eat that night. I asked him, why didn't you eat, my friend? He said, I've been trained in the army to suffer starvation, and these people need it more than me. And he waited for everybody to finish eating before he sat down and ate himself. Amazing guy. The next person is phenomenal. I'm going to invite her up to tell her story. Another story through Periscope. All of these stories are through Periscope, by the way, over the last year. Scope for Good and the stuff we've been doing. This young lady, Miss Tasmin Lucia Khan, is... If you follow her, you'll know she's very, very open-hearted on Periscope, speaks from the soul, and unfortunately, earlier this year, she lost her auntie. In the middle of the night, she decided to go live on Periscope. Unfortunately, was in tears, and the Perimans, which is her Periscope family, all got together and said, we must do something. Let's try and do something in memory of our auntie. And they all got together in a private group set up by Yessie and said, hey, we've got to do something. We've got to do something for Tasmin's auntie, just in memory. Let's try. And so they decided to create a small fund as part of Scope for Good and send Tasmin over to Bangladesh, where she's from, and essentially help some poor children over there in memory of her auntie, which is phenomenal. So thank you, Perimans. I'm going to play you a short message. I'm going to invite Tasmin on stage to share the story. This is 1-minute video.
So she wants to show, we want to see her baby. We want to see her baby because I love babies. I'm quite excited. Irene, the little baby's got a baby.
Baby sleeping on the side of the railway.
Oh my God, she's got a baby. Can you see this little baby? So, or now meme.
Marufa meme.
Meme and or boyish?
Dermash.
Dermash is like,
1.5 months,
I can't believe it.
45 days.
1.5 months.
45 days.
45 days old. Oh,
45 days old.
it's funny, when you look at her name is Irene, and she looks like a baby. She looks like a little baby. And she said, I have a little bubble, and I was like, you have a baby? And I was like, okay, let's have a look. It's so cute. Nino, huh?
It was
Looks like a little dog.
The only thing that separated you from that baby is a lottery. Honestly, you guys were born in the Western world. That baby, unfortunately, wasn't. The baby was sleeping on the side of a railway. I'd like to invite Tasman up to say a few words.
Okay, I think I'm hijacking AJ's keynote speech. I shouldn't be up here. Thank you, AJ, for sharing that. That was essentially Christmas Day. And it's very, very emotional because I think that was literally 3 weeks ago. And I was talking to children living by the railway tracks in Dhaka, which is Bangladesh's capital city. And I met Irene. Her name is Irene. And I said, who do you hang out with? And she said, I've got friends here, and I've also got a little babu. And I went, a babu kind of might mean teddy bear or something. So I said, you have a babu? What do you mean? She said, I have a baby. And so I'm looking at this child who has a baby. And I said, okay, I'd love to meet your baby. And we used our mobile phones, our cell phones, and we found this little baby who's a 45-day-old baby who lives in the railway station, on the railway tracks. And this is the first time we've been able to show this footage here today. And this is all under the umbrella of hashtag Scope for Good. And for me, it was, you kind of were speechless, and I didn't want to react to the people there and make them feel like I felt sorry for them, and because they were happy. They were happy. We had cameras, we had brought food and clothing to celebrate Christmas Day, but afterwards I was a mess, like any of you would be.
So while I was on the streets of London on Christmas Day with the homeless, Tasman was in Christmas Day out in Dhaka. Thanks to Scope for Good and the pyramids. Tasman, why are these children on the street? Why are the girls there especially?
Okay, so essentially a lot of the biggest NGOs in the world will deal with orphans, but a lot of them don't want to touch street kids. Street kids are essentially the ones that are into criminal activity, and these girls, a lot of them work in the sex industry. They're 8, they're 9, up until the age of 12. I don't think those girls are criminals. I think they're being raped every day. So for me, the NGOs don't want to essentially work with the street kids because they influence the other kids. And so they're the forgotten street children of Dhaka. And Periscope, the money raised for these children to give them clothes and food was nothing to do with me.
I just want to add, Tasman paid for her own flights and accommodation and everything.
Completely.
100% of the donations went to the people out there.
It was the Periscope community that just said, you know what, we want to do something. We will raise the money, and they raised the money. And this is the product of their work. And Scope for Good just facilitated it. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, Tasman. The next story hits home. I've never been to India. I'm Indian. I've never been there. I'm lucky enough to be born in the Western world. My mother was born in East Africa, and my gran was born in East Africa. So we'd be alienated if we went to India, or tourists. But the story in India is quite poignant. If you're born a girl in India, it's quite a bad thing. And I'm going to try and hold back on this one. If you're born as a girl in India, essentially, you're shunned upon. And a lot of parents, unfortunately, post-birth, drown their baby because you have to essentially have a boy. I'm going to get on the phone to somebody who's a kind of ambassador for this organization and hopefully share some of his thoughts with you. And hopefully this will work, because this is a first. This gentleman's been out there. I plan to go out there in a few months, and I'll document the whole thing on my Periscope using the hashtag Scope for Good. He will tell you what's going on out there and how these girls are being saved. It's ringing, and it's not Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Hopefully it will work. If it doesn't work, I'll move on, but I'll let it ring. Times are changing in India, as you know. Unfortunately, it's connecting. There we go. Hi, Jag. I hope you can hear me.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi,
Okay.
how are you?
Great, it works. Hi, Jag, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. Jag, I really wanted to share the story of Unique Home for Girls, and I'd love you to tell me about your visit over there, and I'm looking forward to coming out there and periscoping the whole, what's going on over there on Scope for Good. Please tell me all about the organization and what they're doing.
Okay, well, where do I start? What a fantastic organization Unique Home is.
Okay. It will work, God willing. So essentially, it's an orphanage. It's not your average orphanage. It's an anonymous orphanage. They have an ATM machine outside, which is a chute. And if you have a girl and you don't want to walk in and register, instead of leaving your baby on the street or a place to basically die or losing her, you go to a chute, you pull it down, you pop your baby in there, and you close it. And on the other side, the orphanage take the baby in. I'd love Jag to share the story with you because he's doing so much. Jag, we got you back. I hope you're on Wi-Fi now.
Hi, apologies, not sure what happened there.
Okay, please go ahead.
Right, yeah, as I was saying, as you know, I travel quite a bit, and I meet lots of different types of people all the time. That's the fortunate thing about traveling. Now, I always get told about charities in various different countries to visit, and I've noticed that there's a lot of good and bad charities because people use the name of charity to collect funds, and sometimes the money doesn't always get to the people who need it. Now, I was told about a charity in Punjab that basically help abandoned girls, and I was a bit reluctant at first to visit. Now, there's a huge issue, I suppose it's not just in India, but there's a huge issue in the Asian community where most couples want a boy and not a girl. It's kind of like a cultural thing. So when girls are born in countries like India, sometimes they get abandoned, and it's really heartbreaking. So in India, it's a huge problem. Some people try and find out the gender of the child before they're born, and they have the babies aborted early because they're a girl, they're a female. And when I was told about this charity, they house girls who are abandoned, I didn't really know what to expect. And because I was asked many times, I decided to visit. When I went to the charity, as soon as I arrived, I saw kind of like a hole in the wall, like an ATM machine type of thing. But it was like a drawer. You pull the drawer and there's like a little mattress there. And I kind of wondered what that was for. So I carried on, went inside. I saw lots of little girls. Some were having lessons from teachers. And these girls ranged from literally 1 year old all the way to like 13, 14 years old. And then I was taken to another room where there was little cots. And I saw a little baby. She couldn't have been more than about 14 days old. And do you know what? That was the moment that actually changed my life, because I didn't expect anything like this at all. And I just stood there for a while, speechless, because I looked at this little girl and I thought, she will never know who her parents are. Irrelevant of religion, culture, like caste systems in India is a big thing. She will never know who her parents are because she was being abandoned. So then I spoke to the actual people who set this trust up, the charity up, and they said, look, this is it's a harsh fact that this happens a lot. It's just that not all the girls make it to the home. So they've rescued girls where they've been dumped on rubbish tips in sort of fields. They told me about a girl that was rescued where dogs had started to attack the baby where she was dumped on a rubbish tip. It was truly heartbreaking. I really couldn't even start to explain. I saw girls in that charity with who had disabilities. They were abandoned because of that reason. It was just really heartbreaking. So they encourage people, rather than dumping the girls where they potentially could die, they set up like a anonymous, like a drawer outside their charity, where you can leave the baby in that drawer, and it kind of rings an alarm as soon as somebody's left a child there. They house them. If you have children, you'll understand how it feels.
Of course, absolutely.
I couldn't even imagine how somebody could abandon their child. It's unbelievable.
Jag, can I ask you a question?
So this was, yeah.
No, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so this was approximately 3 years ago, and I've been following the story of some of the girls. I try and raise as much awareness as I can with people, like-minded people like yourself, for charities like this. And the feeling is amazing when you know that because of a small activity that we can do, it doesn't make much difference to us. It makes a huge impact in someone's life in India. But it's not just about helping the girls in the home. It's about raising awareness about this big problem in India. About girls, there's people that I personally know who can't have children. And then there's people in India who have children and they dump them because of gender. It was a life-changing experience for me, and it makes me feel really good to be able to spread awareness for causes like this.
Jag, I just want to quickly ask, so again, a form of donation is periscoping. You don't have to pull out thousands out of your pocket and do something. Jag, how long have I known you, and how did we meet in 30 seconds?
I beg your pardon?
How did we meet? How long have I known you, and how did we meet? Tell me in 30 seconds if you can.
Well, we've met through the world of health and fitness, had a general conversation. We spoke nothing about business and all about helping people around the world. And I love meeting like-minded people. That's why I'm in the business that I am in. And I wish you all the best. I think you're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Jag. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for everything you're doing, Jag. So guys, I met this guy, that's the third time I've seen him. I don't know him that well. I met him at a fitness show, and we essentially got talking. I then met him, we just happened to get talking about social good. I then met him soon after for coffee, and I absolutely said I need to get out there and periscope this stuff because I want to try and help raise awareness for a charity that just about has a website, only collects donations from the local community. If you know about India, there's a massive divide between the rich and the poor. So they literally get, from middle to lower class, as much donations as they can for this amazing charity. Guys, if this charity didn't exist, these girls wouldn't exist. So good on them. The next person and the next story, I'm going to wrap it up very shortly. Wow, I've known this kid. I say kid, he's now 18. I've known him for about maybe 4 or 5 years. Unfortunately, he was 8 years old, I believe, if I'm getting the numbers right. And he lost his brother, his older brother, to cancer very, very quickly. He'll tell you his story. His brother couldn't walk. He lost control of his legs. So he decided to swim 1 mile for charity and ended up raising $10 million. Ever since then, my friend Callum has dedicated his life after losing his brother to raising as much as he possibly can, and he's decided to cycle the entire globe. 18,000 miles around the globe, live on Periscope, I might add, using the hashtag #ScopeForGood in aid of his brother and children's charities along the way. So not children's charities in London, children's charities in Thailand, Singapore, everywhere he's gone through, he's supporting local charities. He's done about 10,000 miles so far, he's got about 8,000 miles to go, and he's going to do about 0.1 miles right now. Callum.
That's me done for the day, I think, with biking. But no, hopefully over the next few minutes I can tell you a little bit more about my story, my journey, where I've come from, and what I'm doing right now. My story started in 2005 when my brother, Liam, aged just 10 years old, was diagnosed with cancer. I was 8 at the time. A year on to Liam's treatment, his friend, Jack, passed away at a similar age from a similar cancer. That's when it became apparent to me, to Liam, and to our whole family that he wasn't invincible, and the same could happen to him. A few weeks on from that moment, doctors called Liam into a room, and with my parents, they told him he just had 3 weeks left to live. People in this room have probably experienced similar situations. They've been into consultation rooms where they've been told they've had cancer. They've been into rooms with family members when they've been told that that cancer is terminal. But imagine a 14-year-old boy, an 11-year-old boy at the time, an 11-year-old boy being told that he just had a few weeks left to live. Liam could have been incredibly sad. He could have walked out that room crying and given up on life, but he didn't. He went out there and decided that he was going to live those 3 weeks to the best he could. He would go out and help people like him and like his friend Jack. A few weeks went by and doctors went, "Hang on, Liam, you shouldn't be here." They didn't quite say it like that. That would be kind of emotionless. But Liam continued to fight. And whilst fighting, he started to raise money. He decided to swim a mile. He could barely walk to the end of this room because he had 2/3 of his leg muscle removed through cancer treatment. That cancer then spread to his lungs, and as I said, he was classed as terminal. Doctors told him he wouldn't live to his 12th birthday. He proved them wrong. Doctors told Liam that there was no other treatment that could help him. He found one. He proved them wrong. Doctors told Liam that his leg would be amputated through cancer. He proved them wrong. Time and time again, Liam defied all odds. Until sadly, on the 30th of June, 2009, he passed away aged just 14 years old. Liam was my hero. Liam was my brother. Liam was my best friend. In his short life, from the age of 10 to the age of 14, he was responsible for raising $10 million, around 7.4 million pounds. He inspired people across the country and across the world, because if a 14-year-old boy can raise so much, can do so much, and can be so inspiring, why can't we? And the only thing stopping us from doing anything is ourselves. The day Liam passed away, I remember the exact time. I remember what I was watching on TV. I remember how I found out. I remember the weather. But I remember my last words to him. I made him 2 promises. to live a great life, and to help others. So I decided to do a few little charity things, and after raising about $100,000, I wanted to do more. And I started trying to set up a charity called the Liam Fairhurst Foundation. I rang, I emailed, I spoke to thousands of people, and either they didn't reply or they told me, Callum, you're about 14, you're 15, you're too young to set up a charity. I almost gave up, but then I thought about Liam. I thought how he fought through adversity, how he was determined no matter what he did, and how he changed so many people's lives. I wanted to do the same. And it took one person to give me a hand and to make that charity a reality. And now I'm here. We've supported hundreds of children in the UK, and at the beginning of this year, I wanted to do even more and fulfill my ambition to cycle the world. A lot of people ask me, Callum, why'd you do this? And my answer is, I'm an idiot. But the other answer is, it's incredible. I've seen the world. I'm 10,000 miles into my journey so far. I've got another 8,000 miles to go. I set off in July last year after coming up with the idea exactly a year ago, with no plans apart from a map on the wall and some pins in countries that I wanted to visit. I didn't train, I didn't do anything, and now I'm here. But it's not just about that ride. It's about the people that the ride is helping. We've seen schools that are going to be built. I've met people that have been helped, all because of this ride. All people that I've met and all places that I've seen. Now, I know we're running over, so I'm going to try and quickly end this. But it took one person, and that was Liam, to make a massive difference across the world. It took one person to help me make the charity become a reality. And it will take one person, and I want that to be one of you here, or all of you, to make sure this ride can raise over $100,000 for causes around the world. On AJ's Twitter, @AJ, really easy to remember, I've posted a video that I want Ellen DeGeneres to see. If I get on the Ellen Show with this World Cycle Tour, we can support not just hundreds of kids around the world, we can support hundreds of thousands of kids. So I want you all to retweet that video, send it to Ellen, Periscope, visit challenge360.org. I'm asking a lot of you guys. But thank you so much for all your support, and I'll end it there.
Callum, what a man, what an inspiration. I believe in you, Callum.
Thank you.
18 years old, this man is sleeping on the streets, he's tenting, everything is donated, and he's self-funded the trip. He didn't take a penny out of any donations.
Thank you.
I hope you don't mind me saying, Callum, you don't come from a privileged background. You've managed to take his child, he used to sell sweets. I've known this guy since he sold sweets on a website. He took his profits and his savings, he put this together. You're an incredible inspiration, Callum. Thank you.
I come from a privileged background in terms of I have amazing parents.
Absolutely.
And they've made me who I am. We don't have money, but we can do anything that we want. Anyway, thank you.
So follow the hashtag Challenge360, follow the hashtag Scope for Good. Callum is now about to cycle off. We spent some time together out in Yosemite. He was cycling, he fell over a number of times on the ice. It's quite snowy and icy up there. We came into San Fran quite early. We then went down to a place called Stinson Beach, I think it is. Is that right, Stinson Beach? And he cycled all the way back to San Francisco. You know what was very poignant? You were about to leave? Okay. What was really poignant for me is on the steepest hill, I saw this man struggling on his bike to get it up the hill, and a thought went through my mind. Most of you guys commit to going to the gym in January and can't get there the following day. How the hell does an 18-year-old man find the determination every single day? You're a true inspiration. Thank you so much. He's actually going to be periscoping live right now. He's going to put it on his bike, and he's making his way down to LA. So you feel free to follow him along the journey.
I've not got many Periscope followers, so I'd love more. So you can follow me Callum Fairhurst, that's CALLUMFAIRHURST. So I'm going to head down the lift. I'm going to go just to Half Moon Bay today, which is 30 miles. Then after that, down to LA, hopefully by next week, and then going across America, Cuba, then back through Florida, over to New York. So if you know anyone that lives en route anywhere, I'd much prefer someone's bed or someone's sofa than my awful tent that we're not getting along very well.
That's all his luggage, all of it. That's all
70 kilos. So, pardon? Sorry? My handle is at Callum Fairhurst, CALLUMFAIRHURST. Brilliant. Thank you.
I'll actually show it to you now. Give me a second. There he is, at Callum Fairhurst. So please make sure you guys follow him. He's an amazing guy. Or you can just follow the hashtag Scope for Good and you'll see his journey along the way. I'm going to show you how to follow the hashtag Scope for Good in a second. So guys, while Callum's getting ready, I'm closing up. I know somebody's going to come and grab the mic off me any minute. If anybody wants to wish him well, please wish him well now. He's literally leaving the building and going over to LA. Guys, it's not about money. Please remember that. Do something amazing. Grab your phone, start broadcast, do something amazing in your community. I showed Callum how to use Periscope. I got him on Periscope. I decided to try and help him as much as I possibly can by raising awareness for what he's doing. And Scope for Good has given him the platform to do this. So, and you guys give him the platform to do this. Thank you, Callum. I wish you well. I'll see you in LA.
Cheers, mate. Have a good day. Thank you.
Are you broadcasting, Callum? Okay. Right. Guys, I'm closing up. I want to thank a few people before I close up, and I'm going to leave you with a 2-minute video. I was standing outside speaking to some homeless people sitting on a curb some time ago thinking, how the hell can I help these people? Something I've done for many years. And Scope for Good just jumped into my head and I contacted a bunch of people and I want to thank them today because they've shown great support. First and foremost, I contacted Tasmin. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. You're a co-founder. Within a minute, I called Tasmin and she helped create this and put this together. I want to thank Alex Khan, Alex Pettit, Amanda Oleander, Manny Boy, Mark K, Alexa Rose Carlton, Evan McDonald, and Ryan Bell, and every single person that is an ambassador and a supporter of Scope for Good. I've also got an announcement. Where's Ryan? Can Ryan stand up? Is he here? Oh, can someone go and grab Ryan, please? I need him in the room. Why wasn't he here? And why is he registering people on the last day? He's probably eating a cheeky Subway. How do you guys help Scope for Good? How do you make this happen? I want to thank the guys at Catch. Every single person that uses the hashtag Scope for Good now on will appear on Catch. You need to be registered to Catch, so please make sure you guys register. If you use the hashtag Scope for Good, you are on this page. And it basically allows a platform, it gives a platform to people or small organizations or charities that need to be seen and heard. So please use the hashtag. It's our hashtag. It's not my hashtag or somebody's, it's ours. It's a community effort. So please do that. You also now appear on the new Scope for Good website. All your videos are embedded. I'm going to show you this one very quickly. So this is Derek. My gosh, I've had so many conversations with Derek. Amazing guy. All your videos now appear on the Scope for Good website, and they're there forever, thanks to Catch. So thank you, Catch. So if you use the Scope for Good website, you will appear there. And Mr. Ryan Bell, I hope you caught most of that keynote. He's a busy man today. Mr. Ryan Bell, I want to introduce him as a new ambassador for Scope for Good. We have so many plans together. I want to thank you for all your support. Thank you for putting this amazing summit together. You're a good man. We've had lots of conversations together. You have an amazing wife, amazing children. I want to thank you for your support. He's not a businessman, and I don't mean that in a bad way. He's a good man. And I don't mean business people are bad people either, but this man's not someone to, he just wants to do as much good as he possibly can and bring as many people together as he possibly can. His entire team will agree with me. Thank you, Ryan, and I welcome you as a new Patriot ambassador to the organization. I'm going to leave you with a 2-minute video. Please take this in. It's one of the most important videos you'll ever see if you're a business person. If you're into creating teams, if you're into leadership, if you're into just creating a movement, if you really want this summed up in 2 minutes, please take this video, and it's on my YouTube if you want to watch it back.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not 2 nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your time, your efforts. We're just a few lone nuts dancing in the rain. Please join us in Scope for Good. Use the hashtag Scope for Good. Let's unite and make a difference, make a change using Periscope. Thank you for your time.